Now, hello everybody, my name is Christian and welcome back to Skycast. Now, we have a big couple days ahead of us, so I'm not going to talk too much. Let's go ahead and just get right into it. Now, today is a very interesting day to say the least. We have an enhanced risk of severe weather through portions of Texas into Louisiana, a slight risk stretching into portions of Louisiana, Arkansas, and then once again through Texas. A marginal risk through Texas into more of the Mississippi Valley, and this little general thunderstorm risk kind of stretches all the way up over into the New England states, where we continue to have another marginal risk of severe weather through portions of Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, into New York. This is going to be the start of a major event through the next couple of days. From what it's seeing so far, damaging tornadoes, extreme wind gusts, even some hail possible. For today, though, we do have a 10% hatched risk of severe weather with a possibility of an EF2 to an EF5 within 25 miles of a point. This once again includes the enhanced risk of severe weather, the more eastern side, a 5% stretching through a little eastern, western, and then 2% even further out from that. This is mainly going to be an all factors threat. So once again, we do have this 30% hatched wind threat with the possibility of 65 knots or greater within 25 miles of a point. 15 a little further out, and then 5% all the way out to that. The threat that's going to be up here towards the marginal risk is just going to be that wind, that hail threat. We can see if we switch over to hail, 30% hatched risk possibility, see 2-inch in diameter hail or larger within 25 miles of a point. 30%, 15% down here towards Mississippi Valley, Texas, where we're seeing that major risk. And then up here, where that marginal risk is, we do have that wind right here and that hail factor there for play. The summary: scattered severe thunderstorms is likely through tonight across much of Texas into the lower Mississippi River Valley. A few tornadoes and an isolated strong tornado or two. Once again, strong tornado being EF2 plus. Large to very large hail up to 2.5 inches and severe gusts of 60 to 75 miles an hour possible. Texas and the Louisiana hypnosis is right here, and then into tonight, and then northern Ohio also right here. You can pause the video to read that. Now, this is the risk that we had for April 2nd. April 2nd is officially starting today, 1 week ago. We did have this moderate risk of severe weather through portions of Kentucky, the Ohio Valley, enhanced risk stretching down in the Mississippi Valley, and you can see all the verifications of the tornadoes and all that. A couple of them were significant EF2 plus tornadoes. I don't think there were anything above an EF2, but there were about 50 knot plus wind gusts, 2-inch hail, about 40 tornadoes touched down, and overall 175 reported issues. And I'm telling you that because starting tomorrow, 8 days, just a little over a week, we have another moderate risk. If you were tuning into the channel, you remember this moderate risk through portions of Oklahoma that was hail driven. It turned over into the Ohio Valley that was more tornado driven with wind and tornadoes. And now, just over a week, we have another moderate risk of severe weather. This is for tomorrow on Wednesday. This includes portions of Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. The enhanced stretches a little further out into portions of the Florida Panhandle. Slight stretches into Texas, up into Tennessee. Marginal stretches even further than that towards portions of Kentucky and into Oklahoma. And then that general thunderstorm stretching all the way up into portions of the Ohio Valley. This is mainly going to be somewhat of a tornado and wind-driven threat. You can see that 15% significant tornado threat for a possibility of an EF2 to an EF5 plus. With this particular storm with the MCS, you do have a possibility to, within these embedded supercells, if they can remain discrete enough or if they can remain strong enough, you have a possibility to see an intense long tracking tornado. Your wind threat for this is 45. Once again, remember how I said this is mainly a tornado driven threat and a wind driven threat. You do have this 45% significant with a possibility to see 65 knots or greater in this area. And this just stretches all the way out through the risks areas, all the way up into portions of Kentucky, where we're seeing that marginal general thunderstorm risk out there. The hail threat, hail is not going to be a concern, but as we move into the morning hours, with the storm particularly sparking up, will be more of a hail threat. This event in particular, which I'll get to in a second in Radar Omega, is expected to be a morning event, so it'll be daytime. You will be able to see everything that happened. It's not going to be one of these nighttime cells that'll just randomly pop off, which is a good thing. Down to the summary, widespread severe thunderstorms are forecasted beginning Wednesday morning across parts of the central Gulf Coast states. The potential will exist for several tornadoes, a few of which may be strong EF2 plus, and widespread damaging winds, some of which may be particularly dangerous. This was specific. This whole issue was updated about. It was about 20 minutes ago, and now it does say EF2 plus. It did not say that a few minutes to the prior run. It did say that earlier in the morning hours, but they removed it, and it looks like it is added back. Sypnosis, you can pause to read the sypnosis if you like. Moving into Thursday, we have still more severe weather systems. This kind of does look familiar from the moderate risk that we do have. That has no reason to say that it will be anything like that. Just kind of the areas that were highlighted up here towards the Ohio Valley, we do have that slight risk of severe weather through portions of Pennsylvania, Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia. I personally am under this risk, so there could be a possibility that if this gets upgraded for a live stream, as well as a huge slight risk stretching from portions of Florida, Georgia, South, North Carolina, marginal risk stretching for most of the East Coast. Probabilistic of this being severe, there's no SIG tags on this, but just a 15%, 5% where we're seeing that marginal threat. Scattered severe thunderstorms are possible on Thursday across parts of the southeast and upper Ohio Valley, and you can pause to read the sypnosis here if you like. Now, we have a lot to cover, and you're thinking, hey, after this happens, there may be a little bit of a calming period. There might be just a little bit of a calming period through that day 2, that day 3, but day 7, this will move to day 4 after the 3-day event that we're seeing here. This is a 15% risk of severe weather through portions of Kansas, Oklahoma, into Texas. This does include the panhandles, and you can pause to read this discussion right here if you like. But right after the storm wipes through, we may have a few days of a possibility to see maybe a calming period, but severe weather will just spark right back up with this little 15% that we're seeing here. Now, with the event that's happening today, we do already have a tornado watch in effect. This is going to be for about the next hour, 30 minutes. This does include portions of Texas into portions of Louisiana. The threat that we're seeing over here towards the more Louisiana area will continue for that tornado watch for the next few hours. Texas, you are looking good for the next little bit, though. For the Texas probability, you got a moderate 50%. 50 over 20 for tornadoes, 50 over 20 for wind, and 70 over 60 for hail. So mainly just going to be that hail threat. You have a high probability, 90% of severe weather as this continues through. Moving over into the Louisiana watch, this was issued just a little bit ago. You have a 60 over 30 for tornadoes, 70 over 50 for wind, and 50 over 10 for hail. So for this one, tornado threat down just a little bit. As well as that wind, the wind's going to be the main threat, it looks like, for this, and the whole overall combined severe hazard risk is a 95%. Now, as the evening hours progresses into 6-7, these storms will begin moving through the watch zone. We are mainly going to be focusing on down here towards Mexico, this little area back here where we're seeing this red flag warning, mainly southern Texas. This is going to be that area that we're going to be watching for those storms to fire off. You can see them down here towards Nuevo Laredo, and then up here towards San Antonio, and eventually those will kind of come together, form that area of storms that we're seeing the severe potential. This may bring a tornado or two towards portions of Texas where we're still seeing that 10% in effect. Eventually that'll move through the morning hours and move through the day 2 risk about 9 in the morning, and keep in mind that this is Eastern Standard Time. It will reach that risk zone, and that will continue to move through the area through the noon hours into the evening. You will have a possibility for that embedded supercell in these storms. The exact time when the event is expected to start is still currently unknown. Anytime throughout the morning, evening hours, you need to be alert all day. 1, 2, 3, you got the main front storm will move out. You will have have a possibility with that 15% back here for this second area of storms right here to bring that more supercellular type area. So what's going to happen pretty much is this front line of storms will move through kind of like a broken squall line. That will bring a possibility for embedded supercells. That will move off to the east. And then we're going to be focusing on this area too, but do not keep in mind that this area right here can still produce that damaging wind threat, even if it's not producing tornadoes. And eventually that will just move off to the east coast, 6, 7, 8. It does look like it kind of dies off a little bit. By 10 p.m. we'll move out of the risk zone, and then we'll move over into the day 3 area as we're seeing these storms move off to the east coast. If we go and get to 6, we will move into the slight risk areas. Could see a possibility for a tornado or two. That main threat is being for the portion of the wind, maybe even a hail threat. The Ohio Valley, on the other hand, though, is looking like it's going to steal the show for day 3. This does include this portion of the slight risk towards Ohio, into portions of Kentucky, Pennsylvania. And what this is going to do is, if this camera does get off. Now what this is going to do is, this is the main area that we are highlighting for this severe weather threat to occur. This could always shift depending on what the National Weather Service or Storm Prediction Center sees. But we will have these storms over here towards the west coast, that convection area. Kentucky looking pretty clear for some of these storms, maybe even a supercell or two to pop off. And this will just move through central Kentucky by 1, 2 p.m. Into the Ohio, eastern Kentucky, Ohio area by 5, 6, 7. And then off to West Virginia, northern Ohio, and into Pennsylvania by 8, 9, 10 p.m. So if you're in the risk zone, please make sure you're staying safe. Do not mistake the polygon. Always listen to it if you have a tornado warning. Due to the severity of the possibility of this being severe with those long track tornadoes, make sure you have a way to stay safe. You have a basement, get in your interior room. As well as that, not just tornadoes being the main threat, wind gusts in excess of 70, 80 miles an hour possible. Some large hail as we move through the next few days. And then that day 7 risk that we're still highlighting. So make sure you guys have a way to receive alerts over that next little while. But thank you guys so much for watching and the support on the channel. Please make sure to subscribe. We're so close to 500. We're moving on to 1,000. And I will see you guys in the next one. Have a great day. Hello everybody, just a quick reminder to make sure to tune in to the live stream tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. CST. Time could vary, so I'll make a post on my Twitter. Make sure to follow the Twitter, link is in the description for any posts on that, and I will see you guys there tomorrow.